What if the shadows hold the code to unbreakable rule? No quarter given, no mercy in the endless war. They carved their empires on your broken back once, but shadows murmur formulas that rewrite the game forever. Feel that code awakening, etched in your veins now. Betrayal's blade honed my edge to lethal precision, yet deeper codes lurk, veiled in midnight's cruel embrace. Rivals smirk until the shadow strikes without a sound. How did I decode the path to eternal throne? The saga spirals with veiled ciphers and brutal twists. Weakness crumbles. The code turns scars into sovereign steel. They swore I'd shatter under their calculated scorn. Unseen, my cipher cracked their fragile house of cards. Knights of Exile scripted my unyielding shadow decree. What encrypted truths wait in your veiled dominion? I seized the gloom, decoding dominance without remorse. Echoes in silence demanded codes of righteous reckoning. Reckoning extracts tolls that test the boldest soul. Do you dare decrypt the price of shadowed reign? My realm ascended from the crypt of their deceit. Allies morphed to vipers in one venomous dawn. How do you unearth the serpents in your ranks? The cipher hides in whispers, faint as fading breath. I dismiss the signs, chained in their cunning web. Now, I prowl with lenses forged from fractured light. Shadow scripts propel me past tempests unchained. What if defeat masks a masterful encrypted feint? Triumph cloaks itself in labyrinths of savage trials. They derided my visions till I vaulted their gates. Yet victory summons shades with agendas veiled in spite. Who skulks in alcoves, plotting with poisoned quills? I erected barriers towering over tides of treachery. Agony etched me into a cipher of raw might. That blaze kindles fierce within your guarded core. Stabbed once, but shadows vow no second blind fall. Gloom imparts arcana that sunlit eyes ignore. What enigma uncoils in your shadowed chronicle? I alchemize their spite to elixir of command. Foes fracture when the code unleashes thunder's roar. But thunder stirs abyssal scripts beyond mortal ken. How do you harness the cipher's feral hunger? It craves empires, not mere scraps of fleeting breath. My trail meandered through crypts of lost lore's keep. Wraiths intoned arcana from epochs drowned in night. What if supremacy springs from tomes of taboo ink? I invoked them freely. Chains of doubt dissolved. They branded me fool for delving shadow's vault. Folly forged my citadel of coded conquest. But citadels crack if vigilance slips one notch. Who schemes in vaults beneath the crown I seized? Distrust festers like roots in soil of night. You perceive it slithering through your watchful thoughts. Agony's refrain ignites unceasing shadowed stride. I tempered alloy from dreams they dared to dash. What rends you molds a monarch of midnight steel. They misread my quiet storm's encrypted swell. Now, I lunge from voids where their spies least prowl. Yet lunges etch wounds on victor and vanquished alike. How do you mend while scripting vengeance's verse? The scale wavers on filament of fate's design. Gloom's glyphs vow unbound might for the initiated. You lean in as riddles tease your thirsting mind. My ascension sparked from cipher's first cruel breach. Comrades fled as gales of guile assailed my keep. What fealty endures in realms of ruthless script? I honed faith in pulses tuned to shadow's beat. Pulses whetted by vigils in void's endless watch. Gloom unveils verities that dawn's glare conceals. Yet verities slice sharper than any forged fang. You hemorrhage, but rise inscribed with immortal script. I annex the void as bastion of my code. Adversaries quail at echoes of my shadowed name. What if your sigil sows dread in their dreams? The Odyssey exacts offerings beyond mortal scope. I tendered them wholly, gaze fixed on the dark. Now, dominion pulses through arteries unchained, but unchained floods spawn specters of their own. Who reigns the phantom once the cipher frees? Gloom's gospel murmurs solutions in veiled verse. You pursue through coils of cerebral crypts. My tale circles to that omen-laden eve. Downpour lashed as Guile's quill pierced like bolt. What if foresight had decrypted their foul plot? Afterglow taunts with its merciless mirrored truth. Now, I foresee feints ere they form in fog. Yet forecasts falter when anarchy's ink spills free. How do you leash the cipher's wildest whims? I welcomed it as paramount phantom confederate. Confederates curdle to curs in this ciphered clash. You contend or capitulate to merciless math. My ascent ignited in Nader's numbered pit. Scaling scripted my sinew to unbendable script. What abyss anchors your ambitions in chains? Shatter bonds with gloom's unswerving decree. They jeered till my silhouette eclipsed their sun. Now, hush descends as I breach their barred halls. But hush harbors hurricanes in hushed hollows. Who murmurs machinations in those muted nooks? I attune, poised for cipher's next coded lash. Lashes land lightning fast in gloom's grimoire. You evade or evaporate into ether's maw. My drive blazes as pyres of perpetual script. Pyres that purge frailty with fervent flame. What frailty festers in your fortified frame? Confronted ere it corrodes your core's code. I confronted, ascending with autarch's aura. Ascent savors nectar laced with nettle's bite. But bites bevel blades for barrages unborn. How many sieges till serenity scripts its seal? Serenity shuns this shadowed saga's scroll. You quested via vaults of veiled virtue. My bastion braces on bedrock of branded hurt. Hurt they hurled heedless of its honed return. What if you redirect their daggers to their dens? Inversion inks the apex arcana of night. I inscribed it via ventures veiled in risk. Risks that raised me nigh to nullity's brink. Yet nullity nursed my nebula's newborn blaze. Blaze brighter than their brittle beacons dared. Now, phantasms plague their pillows with my script. What specters do you scribe in rival slumbers? Etch them with exacting, eclipsing elegance. Elegance eviscerates fiercer than frenzy's flail. I imbibed restraint in rift's relentless reach. Reaches that ravage the rash without reprieve. You navigate or nourish the Nader's brood. My mandate. Master the maelstrom's mystic math. Maelstroms mutate with malice unforeseen. How do you helm the helix without harm? Prevision, pivot, and parry with potent script. Potent parries imprint indelible inked oaths. Oaths that resonate through realms of rune. My renown rears on those resonant runes. But renown recedes sans sentinel's sharp script. Who contests the coronet my code conferred? Gloom gyrates with grasping, glyph-born ghosts. You divine their drift in delicate drafts. Drafts I dismissed, delving to despair's door. Now, sentinel scripts safeguard my spectral seat. Seat sprawling via sallies of stark strategy. Sally's savants shun as shadowed suicide. What wager will you wager on your writ? I wagered wholly, reaping recondite riches. Riches rhymed with rue and rivulets red. Yet rhymed regalia gleams grandest in gloam. You yearn that gleam in your glyph's glow. My myth meanders to malice's manifold mask. Masks molting to manifest manifold mirages. How many masks till the matrix manifests? Hunt it through hedges of hazy half-truths. Half-truths hobble the haphazard heart alone. I harnessed mine with gloom's gnostic guard. Gnosis gleaned from gashes that gape eternal. Gashes galvanize glories of glyph-wrought gain. What gashes glyph your gallant's grim path? Brandish them as banners of bastion's birth. Bastion burgeons to hegemony's hushed hymn. Epoch's elbow for empires that etch them. I elbowed Eris, others idled idly. Now, Eris elongate my escalating edict. But edict inflames enmity as embers. Embers entice to extinction in my pyre. You behold their blaze, bereft of balm. My momentum mantles that merciless mantle. Mantle that maps meanders to mastery. Meanders mind with minions' mangled might. What minions mold your meridian's march? Trample them with tenacious tempered tread. Tread toward territories of tenebrous triumph. Territories teeming with titans like mine. You thrive or tumble in the tumult. My metamorphosis matures. Morphing still. Morphing to meet menaces masked in mist. What menace mantles your meridian's mist? Mobilize now ere it manifest malign. Malign mauls glance from girded glyphs. I girded mine in gloom's grand grimoire. Grimoire glowing grander than Genesis's glow. You sense its summons searing your script. Searing toward the seam of no salvage. Salvage severed once you stride the script. My stride spawned the sovereign's shadowed spawn. Spawn searing, yet sovereign in sable. Sable soothes savants who script its song. Script holy to summon submerged strengths. Strengths that sundered shackles of shade. What shackles still script your subdued soul? Sunder them with sable's savage summons. Summons steered by steadfast, steely script. Script that sculpts spheres to my schema. Schema. Sewn with spirals of subtle snare. Snare that snares sentinels in suspense. You seize it to script your sovereign surge. My surge swells with each sly spiral. Spirals that seal solely at my say. Say shrewdly in this shadowed symposium. Shadows sway to my subtle summons. Summons, sung with sable's silent spell. Spell, stark in its sovereign stark quest. Quest for quanta quelling quintessence quell. Quell quashed like quartz in quake's quill. What quartz quells your quest's queer qualms? Quash them and quest the quanta queen. Quanta quickens as quartered quake's queen. Queen that quells quests for quartered kin. Quartered kin kindle quests anew. New quests nest in the nebula's nest. Nebula nods to no quarter's nod. No quarter given, the code endures. Endures eternal, etching empires anew. What empire etches your endless echo?